Good afternoon. My name is Hunter Bell. I'm a Structure Protection Specialist with Northern Rockies Team 1, and I'd like to visit with you today about the types of sprinkler heads we use in our national cache system when we get out on the field and in the summers when we do the wildland fire work and have to do structure defense and protection efforts to save critical infrastructure and structures. So what I'd like to start with here is let's go back in history a little bit to 2017 in Superior, Montana. There was some structure protection efforts going on during a wildland fire there. An engine company, an engine crew went in to set up a sprinkler set and some protection around a cabin there. They went in, set up sprinklers, set up the pump. They had a creek right there, so they had plenty of water. They had a couple of jerry cans hooked up to the pump. When the fire front started coming through, they fired the pump, sprinklers started going round and round and round, getting everything soaking wet. They left, fire front comes through, structure survives. A few days later they come back in, pick up all the hardware, they're all done there, clean up their mess on the outside. A couple days later, maybe a week or so, the homeowners come back, and upon the entry to the house they found about 3 inches of water in the basement and maybe about 2 inches on the first floor, and significant damage to the structure, to say the least, with that amount of water sitting in that building. Let's move forward now to, that was in 2017. In 2021, I'm at a public meeting in Superior, Montana, and some folks are talking about this very house. And so I visit with those guys that were talking about it, and they told me that that house is still under repair, and that the homeowners are still trying to work with a claim to get the reimbursement for that damage. Let's move forward again to 2023, and I'm on a different fire in Montana. There's a lady working on the fire team that's from Superior, Montana, and I asked her, I said, whatever happened to that family that had that log cabin that got damaged by the water infiltration on their house? And she said they're still in litigation to try and get their money back from their repair efforts that they put in. They've since sunk all their own money in there to get it repaired and have it repaired, but they're still trying to get reimbursed. So that happened there again in 2017. It's not something uncommon, I don't think, in the wildland urban interface when we go in and do structure protection tactics by putting up sprinklers on deck railing and whatever else, and we hit the side walls of the exterior of the structure, and water, in that amount of water directly impacting a structure over time will certainly soak into the structure. The nice thing, if it's nice, is if it's log, you almost see it instantly because the cracks and the chinks in the logs, seasonal checking and so forth allows it to come right in and get right on the floor. So you see that right away when you come in and check for damage. The other challenge is when you have a standard stick frame home and you have sheetrock on the inside, insulation in the cavity, and some sort of siding on the outside, the water comes in the window breaks or wherever it might come in and gets behind the sheetrock. And what happens there is we pick up stuff and leave, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, in the winter time when they get the heat cranked up, all of a sudden they start getting black mold around their baseboard, and they don't know where the water came from. So they don't know that, maybe we were there, and did some, sprinkler tactic action there on their structure and had them directly impacting the house. But anyway, what I'd like to say to you is there's a way to avoid all of this for the most part if we change some of the sprinkler heads we currently use, and we do some practice on tactics and get a national standard of tactics that we might deploy around the structure. So one of the other reasons that I like to push for changing these sprinkler heads is the simple fact that I'm a firm believer that we do not need to be applying water to the side walls of structures on most occasions. It's a way to damage the structures I've demonstrated and talked about earlier and later in this series of videos, clips. And we do enough work with putting water on the roof of the structure and then around the side yards and stuff, and getting the humidity up around that part of the world on those structures to do enough of a protection tactic that we don't need to be applying it directly to sidewalls. It doesn't seem to be doing a lot of good, other than introducing a chance of those impact head sprinklers flooding the interior of the structure and doing some damage. Dr. Jack Cohen has done a lot of work in what causes homes to burn, and I want to say that his numbers are somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% structure loss is directly attributed to firebrand or amber intrusion along favorable hosts around the exterior of the structure, and not so much a raging crown fire that we all get worked up about. The true danger to that structure comes when all those firebrands come rolling in there and find receptive hosts in the deck, in the porch furniture, in the wood piles adjacent to the structure, and all the stored stuff underneath the deck. That kind of stuff is where we need to be directing our water streams to get that stuff moist, and not the side walls of the structures. So at this point, I'd like to talk to you about the type of sprinkler heads that are typically available to us through our cache system nationally. Basically, from my study, I believe we've got two types. The national cache system, you're probably familiar with the ones that come with the orange stakes, the 8 orange stakes or so, and they usually have 4 999 sprinkler heads that are similar to this. They have no trip lever mechanisms and no diffuser on the top. They just go around in 360 degrees, full rotation all the time, no choice, no options, unless you get really creative in how you set those stakes. The next model, the model 7736, comes out of Missoula. It's a pretty big head compared to the other one. I'll show it the difference. This is the difference between the two. This is the Missoula head that comes on the music stand. You're probably familiar with that. You'll notice it's quite a bit different. It's quite a bit bigger. Number one, it comes on as I said, it comes on the music stand. It's only available in the Missoula cache in Montana and some of probably the little regional caches there. But you'll notice it comes with the trip lever mechanism on the bottom, and that's really handy so that you can make the sprinkler vary in pattern from 360 to 90 to 180 to 270. One thing that does not have is the deflector shield and the little the pin, the screw that breaks the stream pattern. That's only available in Missoula typically. Sometimes you get some variation of this in Alaska though. When you get up there, they have some of the similar to this. An old sprinkler that I found in a Forest Service office in their sprinkler kits out in Montana one year was this style right here. And you'll notice that it's quite a bit more busy up on the head of that guy. It has no number. It's out of stock anymore in our system, but it has the trip lever assembly on the bottom here that limits the rotation. It has the deflector shield on the top that allows you to break that stream as you send it out, and then it has this deflector pin which breaks that stream up as it comes out, so you're able to really control where you want to send this water and how much you want to send on this guy. This is what I would push for to be the new national standard. The difference between these two presently, price-wise, as I went to a wholesaler and got some prices, these right here on the wholesale market are about 13 bucks. And this one right here, which is all brass, is about 30 bucks on the wholesale market with all the hardware and stuff that comes with it. But this one is also available with an anodized aluminum head, and it's about the same price as this one here. It's $13.50 versus $13. So there's not much of a reason to consider cost if you go to the anodized aluminum head and this one, not to switch to something that's better for us to use. So at this point, we'll move on to the rest of the videos and some of the footage I've produced over the last couple of years in experimenting with different patterns with these 3 types of sprinkler heads. What I did for the little history there, when you see it, is I took a Type 6 engine off my old apartment and dosed the tank with some blue agricultural dye, ran a 1-inch line out with inline tees and ran little short sticks of 3/4 off each one, and ran each of these 3 heads with that dye through it. And what you'll notice is quite a difference in the amount of area covered by the darkness in the color of the snow that is produced by that dye as it hits the snow. You'll notice that these type of sprinkler heads I've set in these videos to go 180, so that would be like on a flat wall of a structure, and so they're able to get an area covered with twice as much water as the 999 would be, because the 999's got to go around in circles and cover a much larger area in the same amount of time. So these two guys will certainly operate differently. This one will be more effective. One thing nice about if we move to this type of system is these heads will allow us to use less water and use the water we do use more effectively, because we're putting it exactly where we want it. So this drawing will show you what it looks like when you put a 999 model sprinkler up against a house. You'll have areas that don't get covered, and you'll have areas that hit the house and then they flood the house. So here you see the model 999 going around and around in circles, doing little blue dye treatment to the snow. And you'll notice that it still has to go around and around, does the 360. That's the only option. And if you imagine that snow pile is the house, every time it comes around, it's hitting that house. You'll notice that the color of the snow is not as dark as the ones coming up, because this guy's having to work twice as hard because it's got to go around and around in 360. So this drawing shows the typical placements of the sprinkler heads with the trip levers and the diffusers, and you'll notice they have good overlap of each other, and they're not hitting the structure when they do their rotation, so you're getting moisture right up next to the primary structure. So in this video, this is one of the Missoula sprinkler heads. I took it down, broke it down, put it so it would be a similar height as the other two. You can see it's just doing a 180. There's a little bit of a wind effect on that left side of the turn there, and you can see that the snow is a lot darker, indicating that it's getting more water in the concentrated area than the old 999 model, so it's a little more effective with water use and water placement. So in this video, you'll see the sprinkler head with all the bells and whistles, the trip levers, the diffuser shield, and the set screw that breaks the pattern down. You'll notice that it's got quite good coverage within its sphere of impact, and that indicating that we're getting more water placement in there with that darker colored snow. Ideally, this is a great sprinkler head because you can set it however you want to, between 0 and 360 degrees worth of diffusion on those turns. So ideally, it would be a great option for us to deploy. So in closing for this little video project I got here, I'd just like to say that this is totally on a volunteer effort on my part. It's just something I feel that's important that we need to do to be better at what we do in the nation, because at this point we are challenged with some of the appliances that we push out from the cache and the stuff that we are asking our engine companies and crews to do when they do structure protection and the WUI. There again, some people have described my efforts jokingly as trying to change the course of the Titanic while pushing on the bow and standing on the iceberg. And I think it's going to be a little bit easier than that once you guys have seen the videos of the sprinkler patterns in the snow and the cost difference in those two heads. It's minimal in the difference of the cost system. It takes a little time to change that many heads out. I don't think there's an option to put all the trip lever mechanisms on the 999s. I think we'll just have to phase those out and move into the newer versions of that one with the trip levers and the diffuser shields on the top and the pin that breaks the pattern. I think it'll be worth the effort. And if we have some legitimate national effort in pushing this out as the training and how we want to set sprinklers around the structure. Some of the things that you'll see in the video in there is part of my little handy dandy book on structure protection. There's some drawings, professional drawings I had done by a landscape architect out of Billings, and you'll see the different patterns that can be produced. A couple pages of what they look like in there. Some of you guys have probably seen this book here and there around the country, here and there. It's just a little effort to try and get us on the same page, to do what we do better and to be better for our customers. And at the end, save a lot more structures and without damaging them with water. Thanks for your time.